privacy like violin murder. So tell me if I murder you want, why? Murder me one. In your family, I run the remand. No in between, mask on like it's Halloween. This the team, nigga, you a damn and walking Frankenstein. I ain't gotta pay no green and take your top off Mr. Clean. Guillotine, she give me top dog, just cause I'm the top dog. This pussy stiffin' cops off, got my
CIA for his intelligence?
Right.
He openly says that?
Correct.
And then who does he use?
He commercializes, he hires commercial intelligence.
Wow. For example, like do you know James Baker?
Yes.
So James, who used to work for the CIA,
Yep.
like you, used to work, and now he has his own private intelligence firm. So would...
But they definitely deliver secrets, right?
Wow.
And that's where private intelligence becomes powerful. With Donald Trump,
It's the efficiency of privatization.
Donald Trump knew that, took advantage of that, and as a result of that, he essentially showed in 4 years that CIA was super powerful, but can be replaced by private intelligence.
Trump came into office, is it the older people that are like the rules or the younger?
It's a younger generation.
And why?
They were leaving.
The younger generation's leaving because they're asking themselves the
What's
question.
my future? Wow. And my future's in the private sector. I'm out of it.
It becomes a cultural challenge because now, if you're a 27-year-old go-getter and you don't get along with the old guard, of trauma with their kids, become high performers later in life. What that's really saying is that we're a little bit crazy, but we're crazy in a useful way. Versus a person who has so much trauma that they end up being like PTSD.
Great sex or whatever.
Well, I mean, even that's still useful crazy.
That is. It is.
But I'm talking about the kind of crazy that ends up with somebody shooting at people, like somebody who goes and starts shooting at the grocery store, or somebody who ends
Too much crazy. So
That's
they're trying to
too
find
much
the right amount of crazy.
Right.
Okay.
And that's useful. So it used to be that they could bring in people who looked normal, right? Who looked like they blended in, and then find the ones that were useful crazy. Now they're basically advertising like, hey, we want you if
Who's gay?
yeah.
Are they going, hey, if you're gay, you had enough trauma in your life that you might be crazy enough to be in the CIA? I mean,
Maybe that might be part of the strategy, but if you see that they are openly advertising to diverse groups.
I would assume that if the world is more openly, you're more comfortable being openly gay, openly whatever. So that person will fit in better with those groups. Whereas before, in the 50s maybe, being gay was something you could proud of.
In the 90s, and we did
Yeah.
But then there's also, don't forget, it's a federal organization, so guess what federal organizations have to mandate? Diversity hires. So you have to have this many women. You have to have this many gay people. You have to have this many people who identify as females but are actually have male sex organs. You have to, like, there's all these government regulations, especially in a democratically controlled executive, that whenever they dictate the requirements to CIA.
Also, you think the bad thing for CIA?
I mean, it's horrible for CIA. I mean, let CIA hire what they need to hire to execute the operations they need to execute for the threat of the day, right? Because the threat of the day changes.
Okay, I want to get back to this second, but you met your wife on the job.
Correct.
How hard is it to sleep with a CIA operative?
I mean, are you talking about how to actually sleep with a CIA operative, or like when we say sleep with a CIA?
No, I mean like she sees all your fucking tricks.
Yeah.
She's trained in the exact same way.
That makes it really easy.
What?
That makes it super easy because the hardest thing to do is lie and hide. That's like, think about how much effort we all put into that. In my so if you're talking about ethnic create value for somebody in excess of what a cup of coffee costs, and then here's how you put yourself in a position with somebody when they connect on their own through some kind of what was the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio? Inception.
Yeah.
The essentially real world version of Inception, neuro-linguistic programming or something like that people call it. You're basically planting an idea, you're priming an idea.
Yeah.
So here's how you prime someone for an idea where they are like, I was having a great conversation with you, I want to know you about coffee.
Fascinating way to break that into the If I want a free cup of coffee, I give you value emotionally that is worth more than a free cup of
Or
coffee.
intellectually, you give me value in the way that I care most about value.
And then maybe get where they can go.
Now, the cup of coffee you're getting from a stranger, not from the person at the coffee shop.
Correct.
I thought you had to charge the barista.
You can if you find yourself selecting a coffee shop where you don't have other people in mind, being in line with somebody is better because you got what we call time on target. But when you go to a barista, how long is a barista used to dealing with a customer? 12 seconds. How are you going to create value?
How big is the farm? Is it like Westworld where it's just like hundreds of people like just living?
Essentially, it's a base. The farm is a giant, retired military base. Instructors live there, students live there, contract personnel stay there for long deployments. Like, it's a self-contained place. And they have total control over your entire student experience there, which is how you can go through this kind of
So
stuff.
that coffee shop is an actual coffee shop.
Outside.
Like in the movie The Recruit, like you have to go and get someone from the bar and get them out.
Wow. What's the, have you ever had like a really awkward exchange when you're trying to practice something that you learned?
Yes.
We would call it comedy bombing. Have you bombed? Okay, tell me about a
I
bomb.
bombed a lot.
Okay, tell me, well, hopefully not real.
Yeah.
You can't say that.
No, no, but yeah. So I mean, I've bombed at in the real world. Look at this coffee. It took me 6 attempts before I got a freaking coffee.
And what happens the first attempt? What do you?
So I think the first time I went there, I tried to talk to a barista, and I tried to just show up and be like, "Hey, I got this thing." I went looking for like a wallet. I'm like, "Oh, I don't know where my wallet is." And she was like,
Oh, so you're trying to guilt him.
yeah, I was just trying to be like, "Oh, out of the nice. It's not very effective. It's not part of the training." I had to internalize the concept. Yeah, okay. So then I went another time. I was like with a dude, trying to talk to a dude about stuff that I was not connecting with what he cared about. I was telling him about how cool I am.
why do you want to come? What is it?
It doesn't matter. What matters is that the concept could fail because
What I'm saying is, if you ask him why he likes Americano, you're tapping into what he's feeling. You seem like the kind of guy that has logic. And you'd be like, oh, what is that? Like, you're giving him something.
correct. Yeah. So what you learn from Bob is you learn how other people actually think and how they engage with the communication. You guys know that's right?
Yeah.
Because when you start to engage with somebody about what they're interested in, now all of a sudden they don't see you as a threat or an outsider. They see you as like a friend.
Yeah.
You make me feel good about me.
Yes.
You're asking me questions about me. I like you.
Yes.
Right? I trust you because you're saying things about me that I also believe. And that's how you get to a place where after 6 minutes in line, and you get up to the front of the line, you're like,
Do you remember the moment that you were asked?
absolutely.
Okay, what happened to you then?
So it was a much older lady. It was like a lady in her 50s.
Okay,
We had been in line, just
work it out. You see one of these lately?
like a mocha latte. So it was a much older lady, and when we were in line, it became very clear to me that she liked to talk, but nobody would talk to her. So then I just kind of sat there and let her talk. And everything that she brought up, her grandkids, her kids, her cats, her job, I just asked a follow-up question. I was like, oh, that's interesting. How did your kids feel about when you retired from accounting? Or how do you take care of 3 cats? Do you feed them canned food, or do you feed them food that you make for them themselves? And it was just this natural conversation, natural from her point of view, where I was being nice to her and learning about her, gave her a conversation which she doesn't get because most people don't want to listen to a 55-year-old woman talk.
Yeah.
And then by the time we got to the actual checkout at the register, she was going to pay with a credit card anyway, so she was just like, you can put his coffee on mine.
Yes. Now.
And the hardest part
Yeah.
is all you want to do is fucking celebrate and get the hell out of the coffee shop and go back and be like, here's my free cup of coffee.
You gotta say, no, please don't do it.
Oh, wait a minute.
You say yes. You say, oh, that was very nice of you. And then you sit down and you have another 2 or 3 minutes of coffee with her because you got to find an exit.
It is positive. Now, okay. You get this success, you get this positive reward, right? Like you said, you want to just run back to the office and be like, yo, I did it. Is that ever met with a sense of guilt as I potentially manipulated another human being?
I love that you're asking this question. I love that you're asking this question because to get to the place where you're going through that level of training, you've already been psychologically assessed in a realm of antisocial behavior that makes it so that you know, and the people who are training you know, that you're not really wired to feel guilt.
So
Manipulating others.
my follow-up to that is this. Before you came here, I was ready to ask you a bunch of, I don't want to even call it hard questions, but I had less empathy for you. Now that we've spoken a bit and I like you, I have a little bit more empathy, so I'm like, do I really want to ask him a question that he might get in trouble for answering by the CIA? And I'm starting to feel these sensations. And I know the thing that would make me feel that guilt. Is also the thing that I'm curious about. But you've charmed me, I guess, or maybe I enjoy talking to you or arguing with you about Europeans being stupid, which is what we both agree ultimately. But I guess what I'm saying is that that would be horrible for the CIA. I would be, because I feel too bad. I get Yeah, hard awkward.
He just said it right, bad feel.
You also can't keep a secret.
Joe is the best.
So, I mean, there's a couple of things here, right?
So I'm already part of the CIA tripping on.
And that's even better. So the thing to keep in mind here is that there's an element of predictable behavior that's wired into us cognitively from childhood, right? So especially people who have had experiences with significant trauma as children also have a higher likelihood of developing antisocial disorders or antisocial conditions as adults, because as children we tried to fit in and we were rejected. So now as adults we're like, fuck trying to fit in, but maybe I should still try to fit in because it's just easier if people think to fit in, right? So there's an element to that.
Do you feel that way about yourself?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, for me, I'm nice because I'm
You're incredible at socializing.
It's all.
You think it's manufactured? It's all kind of learned?
No, it's real, but the difference is what happens on the back end, if you will, right? Like having a conversation, like you were saying, you feel guilty asking me questions. I wouldn't feel guilty asking you questions because I've been conditioned through my childhood trauma to be kind of safe of feeling like I'm going to ask you a question. It's your responsibility to answer or not. I was literally talking to my wife about this the other day because my wife is also former CIA, so we have some very dark conversations. And the question was, if you were crossing a street and you were crossing a street at the time when you needed to cross the street to get away from some creepy dude who was standing in the street corner, but when you crossed the street, you made another car swerve as you crossed the opposite crosswalk and that car crashed. Right? So you just saved yourself from creepy dude who's standing at the end of the sidewalk, but that car crashed. Do you feel bad?
Yeah. I mean,
my answer is no.
I don't feel
What am I
bad.
supposed to do? Like, well, I don't feel bad because I self-preserved, got myself off the X, or the term that we say getting off the X. The dude that crashed wasn't driving responsibly, or else he would have crashed.
And it wasn't your intention.
And it wasn't my intention.
You know, it's a crazy coincidence, maybe not. I grew up in Dallas, born and raised. The spot where JFK is killed, you know how it's marked on the road? It's an X.
X.
So on
the road.
Yeah, there's an X on the road. So off the X really makes me think you guys killed JFK.
Now, you've studied people enough to know that, like,
Horn of Africa, one of the most underrated countries. Molly. Hey, Arsenal, nah. Manchester United. Assalamu alaikum, bro. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. This is a tea. Somali tea. Sugar. Sha. Right, guys, I'm gonna try. Go filming. Assalamu alaikum. Right, guys, I'm gonna try some Somali tea for Sha. Right, Somali opposite. Sha. Oh, that's strong. MashaAllah, it's beautiful, man. Merci. Thank you. Right, let's go. Hi, I'm here. Oh, that's strong. I need to get one of those teas, man.
Really?
Yeah.
We can take one
Take one?
chill over there.
Listen.
Assess.
this is what you see in the movies or TV shows where, like, they're asking you difficult questions and it's not the answer but how you react.
That's a part of it.
Can you give us an example of, do you remember anything you were asked?
Yeah. So, well, I don't remember the questions in the actual exam, right? But I remember there are questions in the exam where they're giving you questions, they're giving you answers, and there's no good answer. Like, there's no safe answer, right? Like, have you ever? I remember this one. Have you ever participated in sexual deviancy? Like,
Yeah, that's a subjective experience.
like yes or no?
Yeah.
Culturally, your supervisor is older than you, right? Physically, they're older than you.
Right.
And they're a supervisor, which means they've been there longer. So they've already made the
Transition.
compromises
Yeah.
to stay in their career. So then that person starts to feed their compromises on to you. The person who chooses family over career has already left.
So they're not even there. So there's nobody to even look towards. So everybody within the institution.
Hey, this is what it is. This is what you do. How did you see
Status
that?
quo.
Same thing when you were in law enforcement, right?
Management, status quo, this is the way it is. Just don't ruffle
So
feathers.
it's very important that those people in those positions are enjoying their life. Because if they're not, you're looking at what your life is going to be, and you're going, I got to get the fuck out of here.
Well, it's not important that they are enjoying their life as much as it's important that they are doubling down on the ideology that keeps them there.
Or they're committed. In other words, if they're starting to fray in their commitment, everything else trickles down. Ooh, that's scary.
The number one thing that you're looking for in any kind of government service is the idea of service before self. Anybody watching this, anybody listening to this, who's military, law enforcement, first responder, government, we all agree, like it's indoctrinated into you from the day one. Service comes before yourself.
And what makes somebody, what is the character buildup or personality trait buildup to have service before self?
It's just a matter of commitment, like you said. It's understanding that your discomfort and your opinions and your anything that makes you unhappy is less important than servicing the mission.
But is there a trauma that you go through that would induce this personality type? Is there something that happens in your life where you can predict this?
Sort of, yes. So when we go back to that whole idea of childhood trauma, what the outcome of childhood trauma is that you need an invisible authority to approve of you. And as long as, and the challenge for us all is growing up in that world, you never know who that invisible authority is, so you're always seeking it. It's like, I gotta get good grades. Somebody say it's good. All right, so I gotta do good on.
I gotta go on stage and
I gotta do good.
Laugh.
That when you get into a government job and you have that same conditioning, the difference now is you know exactly what you have to do to do a good job. To get that authority to approve of you, all you have to do is say yes to the next mission. And there's no guessing anymore. Whereas most of the time we're like, how do I get my mom's approval? How do I get my dad's approval? How do I get?
So it's a pretty easy setup.
It's a package. It's a nice package that you realize over time, the federal government.
I decided to launch my business with LegalZoom with the advice from my sister, who happens to be an attorney. She said it would be the fastest and easiest and cheapest way of doing it, and it was definitely a feeling of, okay, I'm legit now. I can do this.
The all-new GoDaddy Arrow helps you get your business online in minutes with the power of AI. With the perfect name, a great logo, and a beautiful website. Just start with a domain, a few clicks, and you're in business. Make now.
And I did good.
So yes.
Especially your professional life at CIA.
And then the.
Alright, so I did it. A little mustache going on for right now. I'm gonna just enjoy it for like 24 hours. And then... So I stop right here and say this, apparently. So I show my mom the cut, and I'm like, yo, look at this. I cut my beard off. Probably haven't seen this in a while. Da-da-da-da, this should be cool for you. And tell me she starts joking and roasting my ass, right? You know, this is what I'm saying. There's nothing like a mother's love. She goes, you look like you fuck men. I'm like, what do you mean I look like? She's like, what girl going like that? I was like, I see guys with this all the time, right? Like married guys. And I thought it was like a porn star stash. And she goes, nah, man. Jamaica, you look like you fucking men. That's what men rock, gay men rock that style. I'm like, yo, what? Y'all are out here just, that is crazy. So, you know, the more you know, so... As you can guess, the mustache came off right after this. I'll probably take it off in a few days or whatever. Might as well. I did enough. Now, the disclaimer, the topics which I joked on was, now that I reflect on it, right? You work for the feds. You look like a porn meme character, right? Like the white guy, usually. Or I just look like a black guy that happened to be in the military or a cop, aka the feds. See what I'm saying? So I pause. Trash talking on it. So might as well join the enemy. But yeah, as you can see, it looks almost like a cyst. Hopefully not. Hopefully it comes out and just disappear. This one was pretty big, came out pretty bad, but it's slowly fading away. So even though I popped it, and I didn't like take out the bag like the pimples, my body still does what the body do. So, nothing over here that was under the beard. This is definitely gonna help with some new growth. So, yeah, try my best to do the sides, but it is what it is. It's to my first 1 year reset. Might do 2 though.